Well, when we see these kind of epidemics or when we see a natural disaster, there's money lost, there's money gained. We're going to talk about that this morning. Amazon pulls more than 1 million products from sellers trying to capitalize on fears over the coronavirus.
Fox 5 legal analyst Wendy Patrick joins us now to explain. First of all, good morning and thank you for being here.
Good morning, always a pleasure.
Okay, so the coronavirus fear is running high, and then I feel like this always happens, right? There's a certain sense of panic, and then all of a sudden these scams, these people trying to capitalize on the panic and the fear.
That's right. It is absolutely a great idea for Amazon to be policing its site in order to catch this, because you're right, people are in the mode of pandemic preparedness. They are panic buying. But what some of these companies and unsavory sellers are doing, they're exploiting unfamiliarity. Now, what do I mean by that? We all use Amazon or other kinds of online shopping, but what are we buying? Probably not surgical masks and gloves.
Right.
So when consumers look at those prices, how do they know what they're supposed to be? I mean, they don't know enough to be able to go to all these comparison sites and see, well, wait a minute, what did that product cost 3 weeks ago versus what does it cost this morning? So you can't do that, sellers. And there are laws on the books in every state that to some extent regulate how much you can raise your prices in the wake of a hurricane, a natural disaster, an epidemic, a pandemic, or at least the fears of something that's impending as here. So Amazon is basically saying, hey, 1 million products are coming off of our site, and others are being warned that they better get into line too and not violate these provisions, or they won't be able to use Amazon as well.
Well, and let's talk about some of those. For example, if people weren't on Amazon and maybe they weren't looking, maybe they weren't worried about their hand sanitizer the last few days, you've probably been watching and listening. I mean, Costco has even been crazy. You could hardly get a Clorox bleach wipe at some of the local Costco's, but I was looking and there was like a 10-pack of face masks for $128 at some point. And so what are some of the examples of things that we're seeing that would be like a red flag for a scam? Because it also might take time for Amazon to take certain products off, right? So they've got these million products, but that doesn't mean that it's still not going to cycle through the process.
Well, one of the biggest assets you can have is an internet connection, because there's so much assistance nowadays. Comparison sites exist to protect the consumer, and they exist to make sure that people who are unfamiliar with maybe buying online, because that's just it. You go to the store, you don't see it there for the very first time, you're going to do your foray into the world of internet shopping, and you have no idea there's all this information available to help you decide whether or not that 10-pack that's selling for $100 sold for $30 the week prior. So talk to your healthcare providers, go on the CDC website, look at these comparison sites, do the kind of homework you need to do to make sure that what you're buying is actually going to protect you. A piece of cloth will probably not, whereas some of these masks that are designed to protect against airborne particles probably will. But even having said that, if they are marked up more than 10% even from what they sold last month, that would be a red flag that Amazon would want to know about.
Right, that's right. It's so funny. I was just telling Heather earlier that my sister yesterday pulls up Amazon because she's gone to CVS and can't find any antibacterial, so she's looking online, and it's costing like $400 for a 24-pack of the small bottles. And she's like, oh my gosh. And I'm thinking, you can use soap and water, you know.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But you know, how else though, if we are online and we're trying to protect ourselves, like how can consumers actually protect themselves from things like these?
You know, I always say it's 2 words: source credibility. You look for reputable brand names. You look for recommended products. You do what most people do that are shopping around. You look at ratings, you look at reviews, you look at how many stars something has. In other words, you look at all the background information other people have already done for you. And let's not forget word of mouth. Trusted friends, family, healthcare providers. Sometimes the best advice is what we get from each other instead of just going online and there's too much information. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose, where maybe you ask your own doctor, hey, you know, there's so much misinformation out there. What do you suggest I buy and from whom?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's so simple.
And for right now, I know that there's a lot of people claiming that there's a coronavirus cure or something that you can find online. Just know that that's not out there.
Not yet.
And to not look for those things. It's not possible. A good hand soap and water is probably going to do the trick for all of us right now.
So far, so good.
Right.
That's right. That's
Wendy,
right.
thank you so much.
Always
We
a
love
pleasure.
all of your advice.
Thank
and
you.
It's good to know all of this right now, especially if people are on Amazon looking for all of those products.
For sure.
Don't panic.
That's right.
Yes.
No panic.
Thank you.